The massive ships appeared on a Tuesday morning. They came without warning, their silver hulls blocking out the sun over major cities across Earth. Traffic stopped. Phones came out to record. Children pressed their faces against classroom windows. But there were no attacks, no invasion, and no destruction. Instead, they waited. In New York, General Thomas Miller stared at his radar screens, watching as more ships entered Earth's orbit. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, forgotten in the chaos of the morning. "How many?" he asked, his voice rough from hours of shouting orders. "Over 300 vessels, sir," Lieutenant Rogers answered, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "And they're still coming." The strange thing was, none of the ships had powered up their weapons. They just hung there, like ornaments in the sky. Then the message came. It broadcast on every frequency, in perfect English. "We come seeking Earth's help. We are the Galactic Council, and we need your world to stay exactly as it is." Within hours, the United Nations gathered for an emergency session. The walls of the UN building had never seen anything like the beings that walked through its doors that day. Tall figures in flowing robes, their skin in shades of blue and green, moved with careful grace. Their leader, who called himself Ambassador Gray, looked almost human except for his silver eyes and the slight shimmer to his skin. "We apologize for the dramatic entrance," Ambassador Gray said, standing at the podium. His voice was deep and clear, carrying to every corner of the room. "But time is critical." The UN Secretary General leaned forward. "You said you need our help. What could Earth possibly offer to beings capable of crossing the stars?" A slight smile crossed Gray's face. "What you offer, dear humans, is something unique in all the galaxy. You offer neutrality. And right now, that is worth more than all the battleships in the cosmos." The ambassador's holographic display filled the air above the assembly. It showed a map of the galaxy, with two massive regions highlighted in different colors. "Two great powers are at war," he explained. "The Stellar Alliance and the Coalition of Free Worlds. Their conflict threatens to tear the galaxy apart." "And what does this have to do with Earth?" asked the Chinese representative, her voice sharp with suspicion. "Everything," Gray answered. "You see, Earth is unique. While we have watched your world for centuries, we have kept you isolated from galactic politics. This was not by accident. Your isolation has made you natural mediators in this conflict." The room burst into murmurs and whispers. The American representative stood up. "You're saying you deliberately kept us in the dark, prevented us from joining the galactic community." Gray's silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. "We did. And because of this, you are the only significant world that has no ties to either the Alliance or the Coalition. More importantly, your military development has taken interesting paths." He gestured, and new images appeared. They showed Earth's military history, but from an alien perspective. "Your species has developed tactical and strategic thinking that is unique in the galaxy. You wage war differently than any other race we know. You think differently, and both sides of this war want your approach. So you're here to keep us out of the fight?" the Russian representative asked. "We're here," Gray said, his voice growing grave, "to beg you to stay neutral. Because if either side recruits Earth to their cause, the war will escalate beyond anything the galaxy has ever seen. Your world's particular genius for warfare, combined with advanced galactic technology, would be devastating." The Secretary General stood slowly. "You're not just asking us to stay neutral. You're warning us that we're too dangerous to join the fight." Gray nodded. "Exactly. And there are forces already moving to draw you in. The Galactic Council is here to help Earth maintain its independence. Because if we fail—" He paused, looking at each delegate in turn. "If we fail, the galaxy will burn." As if to emphasize his point, another fleet of ships appeared in the sky above New York. The war was coming to Earth, whether they wanted it or not. And humanity's greatest challenge would not be choosing a side, but finding the strength to choose no side at all. Captain James Walker stood at the window of humanity's first faster-than-light ship, the Explorer, watching as Earth grew smaller behind them. The ship had been a gift from the Galactic Council, though Walker suspected it was more about keeping an eye on them than genuine generosity. Still admiring the view, Dr. Maria Torres asked, floating up beside him in the low gravity. As Earth's leading expert in alien communications, she had been an obvious choice for this mission. Hard not to, Walker replied. A month ago, I was commanding a regular naval vessel. Now I'm heading to meet two of the most powerful alien fleets in the galaxy. Their mission was simple on paper: visit both the Stellar Alliance and Coalition forces to evaluate the situation. In reality, they were there to show that Earth was taking its neutral position seriously. The ship's AI spoke with a gentle hum. Captain, we're approaching the Stellar Alliance's third fleet. They're requesting permission to dock. Walker straightened his uniform. Grant them permission. Let's see what we're dealing with. The Alliance's docking bay was massive, easily holding 100 ships the size of the Explorer. As Walker and Torres stepped out, they were met by Admiral Bright, a tall being with crystalline skin that seemed to catch and reflect light. "Welcome, Earth representatives," the Admiral said, their voice creating subtle musical tones. "We have much to show you." What followed was clearly a carefully planned display of Alliance military might. They showed the humans their advanced weapons, their sophisticated battle plans, their extensive star maps. But Walker noticed something odd. The aliens were watching them just as carefully as they were watching the aliens. During the demonstration of their battle simulators, Walker spotted a flaw in their strategy. Without thinking, he spoke up. "Your formation is vulnerable here." He pointed to a spot in their defensive line. "A smaller force could split your fleet if they attacked from this angle." The room went silent. Admiral Bright's crystalline skin flickered with internal light. "Fascinating," they said. "In 300 years of simulated battles, no one has noticed that weakness." Torres shot Walker a warning look, but the damage was done. Word of his tactical observation spread quickly through the ship. Soon, they were being invited to observe more simulations, asked more questions, shown more technology. "They're studying us," Torres whispered to Walker during a brief moment alone. "Everything we say, every reaction. It's all being recorded and analyzed." Walker nodded. "I noticed. But why? They have technology we can barely understand. What could they learn from us?" The answer came during dinner with the Admiral. As they ate strange, glowing food, Bright explained, "Your species fascinates us. You developed in isolation, yet your military thinking is unique. You see patterns we miss. You take risks we would never consider. You fight in ways that defy our logical models. Is that why the Coalition and Alliance want Earth's support so badly?" Torres asked. Bright's crystalline form dimmed slightly. "Partially. But there's more. We've been monitoring your soldiers in simulated combat scenarios. Your troops can improvise in ways our warriors cannot. You adapt instantly to new situations. Our strategies are based on thousands of years of refined doctrine. Yours." The Admiral paused. "Yours come from chaos, and that makes them unpredictable." Walker remembered the stories of human history, of armies winning against impossible odds, of small forces defeating larger ones through creativity and unconventional thinking. He had never considered how alien such thinking might seem to beings who relied on pure logic and established doctrine. As they returned to the Explorer that night, Walker found a message waiting from the Coalition. They too wanted a visit from Earth's representatives. But now he understood. These weren't diplomatic visits. They were auditions. "We have to be careful," he told Torres as they prepared to depart. "Every word we say, every suggestion we make, it could tip the balance of this war." Torres nodded, looking out at the stars. "And something tells me that both sides won't be satisfied with just our neutrality for long." Behind them, the Alliance fleet glittered like 1,000 stars, beautiful and deadly. Ahead lay the Coalition, waiting for their turn to show humans their power. And somewhere in between, Earth's representatives had to find a way to walk a line that grew thinner with each passing day. The Coalition's main fleet looked like a swarm of angry black wasps against the red light of a dying star. Dr. Torres felt a chill run down her spine as the explorer approached. Where the Alliance ships had been all smooth curves and crystal, these were sharp angles and dark metal. "They're hailing us," Walker said from his command chair. "Audio only." A deep voice filled the bridge. "Earth vessel, you are cleared to dock in Bay 7. Please follow the guide lights." As they walked through the Coalition ship's dark corridors, Torres studied the strange markings on the walls. They weren't just decoration. They were old. Very old. Their guide, Commander Stone, was a stocky alien with rough, gray skin that looked like weathered rock. "We do things differently here than the Alliance," he said, leading them to a large room. "No fancy shows, no parades of weapons, just truth." The room he brought them to was filled with artifacts. Ancient technology, bits and pieces of civilizations long dead. In the center stood something that made both humans stop in their tracks. It was a control panel of some kind, but it was clearly built for human hands. "You recognize it, don't you?" Stone asked, watching their reactions carefully. "Your bodies know what your minds don't remember." Walker stepped closer to the panel. "What is this?" "The real reason for the war." Stone touched the panel, but nothing happened. "This technology is everywhere in the galaxy, left behind by those we call the Builders. For thousands of years, we thought it was dead, useless. Then we found Earth." Torres felt her heart racing. "What do you mean?" "Watch," Stone said. He gestured to one of his soldiers, who stepped up to the panel and placed his hands on it. Nothing happened. Then he turned to Walker. "Now you try." Walker hesitated, then placed his hands where the aliens had been. Instantly, the panel lit up with a soft blue glow. Ancient symbols filled the air above it. "Impossible," Torres whispered. "No," Stone said. "Inevitable. You see, your species isn't just good at war. You're not just unpredictable. You are the key to everything. Your minds, your bodies, they're compatible with Builder technology in a way no other species is." Walker pulled his hands away, and the light died. "The Alliance didn't mention any of this." Stone laughed, a rough sound like rocks sliding together. "Of course not. They want to keep you in the dark, control how much you learn. But we believe you deserve the truth." "And what truth is that?" Torres asked. "That humanity isn't just another species to be kept neutral. You are the descendants of the Builders themselves." The revelation hit them like a physical blow. Torres looked at the ancient panel again, seeing it with new eyes. "That's why the Galactic Council kept us isolated. They weren't protecting us from the galaxy. They were protecting the galaxy from you." Stone finished. "Imagine, a species that can not only think in ways we can't predict, but can also control the most powerful technology ever created." Walker's face hardened. "So this war isn't really about territory or resources. It's about us. About controlling Earth. Now you understand." Stone spread his arms. "The Alliance wants to keep you ignorant, use you as tools. We offer partnership, knowledge, your rightful place in the galaxy." But Torres had been studying the commander's face. "And if Earth chooses neither side?" Stone's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "That would be unfortunate. This technology is too important to be left unused, if Earth won't choose willingly." He left the threat hanging in the air. As they returned to their ship, Walker and Torres shared a worried look. The stakes had just gotten much higher. It wasn't just about staying neutral anymore. It was about protecting Earth's freedom to choose its own path. "We need to warn Earth," Walker said as they prepared to leave. "But we also need to know more. About who we really are. About what we can really do." Torres nodded, looking back at the Coalition fleet. "And we need to do it fast. because I don't think either side is going to wait much longer for an answer. Behind them, ancient technology hummed with power that had slept for millennia, waiting for human hands to wake it once again. The attack came without warning. Earth's first deep space research station, Horizon, disappeared in a flash of light that lit up the dark side of the moon. 400 researchers gone in an instant. General Miller slammed his fist on the desk in the Pentagon's new Space Command Center. How did they get past our early warning systems? Coalition stealth technology, sir, a young officer reported, his face pale. They were gone before we could track them. Across the room, Captain Walker and Dr. Torres watched the replay of the attack. They had just returned from their diplomatic mission 2 days ago, and already the situation had spiraled out of control. They're forcing our hand, Torres said quietly, making us choose a side. The room's main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. Admiral Bright of the Stellar Alliance appeared, their crystalline form glowing with apparent concern. Earth Command, we offer our deepest condolences, the Admiral said. Our fleet stands ready to assist in your defense against this cowardly attack. Walker stepped forward. That's very generous, Admiral. But how did your ships get to Earth so quickly after the attack? A moment of silence followed. The Admiral's glow dimmed slightly. Unless, Walker continued, you were already here, waiting for something like this to happen. Before anyone could respond, a second transmission cut in. Commander Stone of the Coalition, his rocky features twisted in what might have been anger. The Alliance attacks your people and then offers protection, he growled. Can't you see their deception? General Miller raised his hand for silence. We have no proof who launched this attack, but we do know one thing. He turned to face both alien commanders. Humanity is done being a pawn in your game. He nodded to Walker, who pressed a button on a nearby console. Instantly, every screen in the room filled with data, ancient builder technology specs, weapons capabilities, fleet positions, everything they had gathered during their diplomatic missions. You both think you understand human warfare, Walker said, his voice hard. You don't. You've seen what we can do with simple weapons and basic strategy. Now let us show you what happens when you push us too far. Torres stepped up beside him, holding a small device they had recovered from the Coalition ship. It hummed to life in her hands, responding to her human DNA. This is Builder Tech, she announced. We've learned more about it in 2 days than you have in centuries. Want to know why? She paused, letting the tension build. Because we're not just compatible with it. We designed it. The Alliance Admiral's crystalline form flickered with what might have been fear. Commander Stone's rocky features cracked in a grimace. Earth has maintained neutrality out of choice, not weakness, Miller declared. We wanted peace, but if you force us to fight. He let the threat hang in the air. Walker brought up a new display, Earth's defense grid, now integrated with awakened builder technology. Satellites that had been dead for millennia sparkled to life around the planet, their power readings off the charts. We're giving you one chance, Walker said. Both fleets will withdraw to the edge of the solar system. Now, any ship that remains in Earth space after 1 hour will see firsthand why the builders chose to hide their technology here. The alien commanders looked at each other through their separate transmissions, then back at the humans. For the first time, they seemed to truly understand what they had awakened. As the alien fleets retreated, Torres turned to Walker. This changes everything. Earth can't stay neutral forever. No, Walker agreed, watching the ships disappear into deep space. But we can make sure that when we do choose a side, it's our choice, not theirs. Behind them, the ancient builder technology hummed with power, a reminder of humanity's forgotten legacy, and a warning to those who would try to control it. The game had changed, and now Earth was playing by its own rules. Deep beneath the Egyptian desert, Dr. Torres stood in a chamber that shouldn't exist. Ancient builder symbols covered the walls, glowing faintly at her presence. She ran her fingers along the markings, and they brightened at her touch. "It was here all along," she whispered, "under every ancient civilization, waiting." Captain Walker stood at a central platform, where a holographic map of Earth hovered in the air. Dozens of points of light pulsed across its surface, each marking the newly discovered builder site. "Pyramids, stone circles, ancient temples," he said, shaking his head. "They weren't just monuments. They were markers." Ambassador Gray of the Galactic Council stood silently in the corner, his silver eyes reflecting the glow of the ancient technology. He had finally decided to tell them the truth, but only after they had started finding it themselves. "Your ancestors," Gray began, "didn't just leave Earth. They buried their most powerful technologies here, then erased their own memories. They chose to start over." Torres turned to face him. "Why? Why would they do that?" "Because they saw what their power was doing to the galaxy." Gray walked to the center of the room, his robes brushing the dusty floor. "The builders, your ancestors, could create or destroy stars. They could reshape planets, and that power was destroying them." The holographic display shifted, showing images of an ancient war that made the current conflict look like a children's game. Entire solar systems vanished in bursts of light. "So they made a choice," Gray continued. "They locked away their most dangerous technologies, erased their own memories, and became human. Simple, limited, but with the potential to grow again, differently this time." Walker watched as more builder sites activated across the globe. Each one responded to human presence, awakening from millennia of sleep. "And the Galactic Council, what was your role in all this?" Gray's silver eyes dimmed. "We were created to be guardians, to watch, to wait, to make sure humanity had time to develop without the burden of its past. Until the Coalition and Alliance started searching for builder technology," Torres added. "That's why you kept Earth isolated. You were protecting the galaxy's most dangerous weapons." "No," Gray corrected. "We were protecting its greatest hope." A new signal appeared on the holographic map, this one coming from Mars. Torres rushed to the controls, her fingers dancing over symbols that felt strangely familiar. "It's some kind of message," she said, "left by us, the builders, our ancestors." The chamber filled with a new hologram, showing a human-like figure speaking in a language that felt both alien and familiar. As they watched, the words translated themselves in their minds. "To our children," the message began, "if you are seeing this, you have begun to remember. But remember this as well. You chose to forget. You chose to start again. The power you are rediscovering can save worlds or destroy them. Choose more wisely than we did." Walker looked at the army of dots on the global map, each one a site of unimaginable power. "The Coalition and Alliance don't just want our military thinking," he said slowly. "They want this, all of it, our heritage, which is why you must not join either side." Gray pleaded. "Humanity has a chance to do things differently this time, to be better than the builders were." Torres stood at the ancient control panel, feeling the power humming through it. "We won't repeat their mistakes," she said firmly, "but we won't hide either. Earth remembers who it was, but more importantly, we know who we are now." As if in response, every builder site around the world pulsed with light. A new age was beginning, not one of war or conquest, but of responsibility. The question was no longer whether Earth would join the galactic war, but whether the galaxy was ready for what Earth had become. The red dust of Mars swirled around Captain Walker's boots as he walked toward the massive door embedded in the cliff face. Dr. Torres followed close behind, carrying equipment that was both ancient and newly awakened. They wore simple spacesuits, but builder technology kept them comfortable despite Mars' harsh environment. "Are you sure about this?" Torres asked, her voice tight with concern. "Once we activate the Mars facility, there's no going back." Walker nodded, his face grim behind his helmet visor. "The Coalition fleet is gathering near Jupiter. The Alliance is moving forces through the Kuiper Belt. We're out of time. They had spent the last week watching both sides prepare for what they thought would be the final battle for Earth. Neither side believed humans would actually use the builder technology they'd rediscovered. They were wrong. The door recognized their human DNA and slid open with a sound that hadn't been heard in thousands of years. Inside, they found what the builder message had promised: a demonstration site designed to show exactly what humanity was capable of. "Controlled rooms this way," Torres said, following symbols that glowed at her approach. According to the Earth Archives, this facility was used for stellar engineering tests. They reached a vast chamber filled with dormant machinery. At its center stood a control platform similar to the one they'd found in Egypt, but much larger. Through the chamber's crystal ceiling, they could see the Martian sky. "All teams report ready," Walker said into his comm. Similar facilities around Earth had been activated, waiting for the signal from Mars. Beginning power-up sequence. Torres took her position at the controls. As soon as she touched them, the entire facility hummed to life. Holographic displays filled the air, showing the solar system and the approaching alien fleets. "Broadcasting on all frequencies," she announced. "Coalition and Alliance forces, this is Earth Command. You have 1 hour to withdraw from the solar system." The response was immediate. Commander Stone's rocky face appeared in the air. "You don't understand the power you're dealing with. Let us help you control it." Admiral Bright's crystalline form shimmered beside him. "If you activate builder weapons, you risk destroying everything. Stand down." Walker stepped forward. "We understand exactly what we're dealing with. This isn't a weapon demonstration. This is a reminder of who we are." Torres pressed her hands into the control panel. Energy surged through the facility. Above them, the Martian sky began to change. "Watch carefully," she said to the alien commanders. Light erupted from the surface of Mars. Ancient machinery, buried for millennia, began to transform the planet's atmosphere. In minutes, the red planet's sky started turning blue. "This is builder terraforming technology," Walker explained. "What you're seeing is thousands of years of environmental change happening in hours. We can reshape worlds, create life where none existed." On the holographic display, they could see the alien fleets stopping their advance, watching in awe as Mars transformed before their eyes. "The same power that can change a planet can also destroy it," Torres added. "We're showing you the gentler option first. Don't make us show you the other one." The chamber filled with more displays, showing other builder sites activating across the solar system. Each one demonstrated another aspect of their ancestors' power: energy generation, gravity control, space-time manipulation. "Humanity doesn't want to fight," Walker declared. "We never did. But if you force this war into our home system, we will use every bit of technology our ancestors left us. Not just to defend ourselves, but to make sure no one ever threatens Earth again." The alien commanders were silent, watching as Mars continued its transformation. Finally, Admiral Bright spoke. "Perhaps," the crystalline being said carefully, "it is time to discuss peace terms." Commander Stone nodded slowly. "On neutral ground, on Earth." Walker and Torres shared a look through their helmet visors. Their gambit had worked. Earth hadn't just avoided choosing sides in the Galactic War, it had changed the rules of the game entirely. "Welcome to the new age of peace," Torres said, as the first clouds began to form in Mars' new sky. "Let's hope we all use it wisely." 1 year later, Captain Walker stood at the window of the newly constructed peace station, orbiting Earth at the exact point between the Coalition and Alliance diplomatic fleets. The station was a marvel of combined technology, human innovation merged with builder precision. Below, Earth shone like a blue jewel. Beside it, Mars now gleamed with its own seas and growing patches of green, a testament to what humanity could accomplish with its rediscovered heritage. "The final treaty is ready," Dr. Torres said, walking up beside him. She wore the new uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, with the ancient builder symbol for peace woven in gold thread on her shoulder. "Hard to believe we got here," Walker replied. "A year ago, They'd wanted to drag us into their war. Now they're letting us write the peace terms. The main conference room of Peace Station was a perfect circle, with Earth visible through the transparent ceiling. Representatives from the Coalition and Alliance sat on opposite sides, while Earth's delegation took the middle position. Ambassador Gray of the Galactic Council stood nearby, his silver eyes watching proudly. General Miller, now Earth's chief diplomat, stood to address the gathering. 1 year ago, you came to Earth demanding we choose sides. Today, we offer something better, a chance to share in the legacy of the Builders, not as weapons, but as tools for peace. The treaty was displayed in holographic form above the table. Its terms were simple but revolutionary. Earth would share non-military builder technology with both sides equally. In return, both the Coalition and Alliance would disarm their major weapon systems and accept Earth as a neutral mediator in all future disputes. Commander Stone spoke first, his rocky features softened by what might have been respect. The Coalition accepts these terms. Your demonstration on Mars showed us that true power lies not in destruction, but in creation. Admiral Bright's crystalline form glowed with multiple colors, a sign of strong emotion. The Alliance also accepts. We have spent centuries fighting over builder relics, never understanding their true purpose. You have shown us a better way. Torres stepped forward, activating a builder control panel that rose from the table. As a sign of our commitment to peace, Earth will now share its first gift. She pressed her hand to the panel, and new holograms filled the room. These are builder terraforming stations, she explained, similar to what we used on Mars, but designed for various planetary conditions. With these, both your peoples can transform dead worlds into living ones, create new homes instead of fighting over old ones. The alien representatives leaned forward, their eyes wide at the possibilities displayed before them. Walker couldn't help but smile at their wonder. Ambassador Gray moved to the center of the room. The Galactic Council's role was to protect humanity until they remembered who they were. That task is complete. He turned to face the Earth delegation. Now we ask to stand beside you as equals, as guardians of peace rather than keepers of secrets. General Miller nodded. We would be honored. The new Galactic Council will include representatives from all our peoples, working together to build a better future. As the delegates signed the treaty, Walker felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Earth had done more than avoid a war. It had ended one that had raged for centuries. Ready for what comes next? Torres asked him quietly. Walker looked out at the assembled aliens, former enemies now turned partners. Beyond them, through the station's windows, he could see the first builder construction ships heading out to begin their peaceful work. You know what? He said, smiling. I think we are. Humanity remembered not just who we were, but who we could be. And that's something worth sharing with the galaxy. The treaty ceremony ended with a sight never before seen in the galaxy's long history. Coalition, Alliance, Earth, and Council representatives standing together, watching the sun rise over a changing Mars. It was the dawn of a new age, not one of war or isolation, but of cooperation and growth. Humanity had chosen its path, not as warriors, not as weapons, but as builders once again. And this time, they would build something that would last, peace among the stars.